The night has grown long, and the silence around you has deepened, a silence so full that it seems to breathe. Snow lies undisturbed, glowing faintly in the moonlight, while the trees stand motionless, their branches dusted with frost like crystal lace. Overhead, the aurora drifts in slow ribbons, pale now but still alive, a gentle echo of the brilliance that once flared so fiercely across the sky. It feels as though the heavens are exhaling, letting their fire soften into whispers, cradling the world below into a deep and tender calm. You close your eyes for a moment and breathe in the cold air, sharp and pure, carrying the faint scent of pine and frozen earth. Behind your eyelids, the memory of the lights still dances, as though imprinted on the mind itself, impossible to erase. You know this vision will linger long after the night is gone, long after the snow melts and the seasons shift. That is the gift of the aurora, not only what it shows in the sky, but what it leaves within the soul. The stories of the aurora have stretched across time and continents, from ancestors who whispered their myths to children around firelight, to explorers who filled pages with astonished words, to scientists who mapped and measured its mysteries. And yet, no matter how much is explained, no matter how much is understood, the truth of the aurora lies beyond reason. Its beauty cannot be owned by equations or bound by theories. It belongs instead to wonder itself, to that quiet, wordless awe that rises unbidden when light fills the sky in shapes too strange and delicate for language. Perhaps that is why people return to it, again and again. They travel far, endure cold and silence, just for the chance to see it once more. Not because they do not understand it, but because understanding has never been the point. The aurora exists to remind us of what it means to feel small, to feel humbled, to stand beneath something greater than ourselves. It is a mirror held up to the human spirit, showing how deeply we long to be part of beauty, to be touched by something eternal. You think of how the aurora begins, millions of kilometers away, on the surface of the sun. There, storms rage and particles are flung outward, streaming across the emptiness of space. They travel for days, invisible and unstoppable, until at last they reach Earth. Our magnetic field catches them, guides them, pulls them toward the poles, where they meet the atmosphere and ignite the skies.
A journey that begins in fire ends in silence and color.
A journey of chaos becomes one of peace. There is a lesson in this, one that hums quietly as you watch the lights. Beauty often has its roots in turmoil. Calm often rises from storms. The gentle veils of green, the sudden bursts of red, the quiet rivers of violet above your head, all of it is born of violence in the sun. And yet, here on earth, it arrives as grace. Perhaps life itself works this way, weaving difficulty into wonder, shaping struggle into something that glows softly in memory. The aurora also reminds you that the universe is not empty. It is alive with motion, with exchange, with connection. The sun touches the earth answers with light, and we, standing on its surface, witness the dialogue of worlds. How many such conversations are happening across the cosmos? How many skies are painted with colors we may never see? To imagine this is to feel not only small, but part of a greater story, one written in light and time, one that stretches far beyond our fragile lives. The old myths echo in your mind again. Valkyries, spirits, ancestors, dragons. They were all attempts to describe what words could not hold, to fill silence with meaning. In their own way, they were right. The aurora is a kind of spirit, a kind of guardian, It has watched over humanity since the first fires were lit, since the first footsteps crossed frozen ground. It has been present through centuries, through empires, through joys and griefs alike, silent, patient, eternal. The aurora is both memory and presence, both past and future bound in living light. As you breathe, your own story joins this tapestry. The quiet hours you have spent beneath the sky, the thoughts that have drifted through your mind, the feelings that rise and fall with each shifting curtain of color. All of this is yours, yet also part of something larger. The aurora has touched you as it has touched countless others, and like them you will carry it forward, a glowing ember in the heart, ready to be told, ready to be remembered. The world beneath the aurora feels gentler, softer, as though the light itself has draped over the land. The cold is still sharp, but it no longer bites. The silence is vast, but it no longer feels lonely. Everything is connected by the glow. The snow, the trees, the stars, the breath in your lungs, the slow beat of your heart. Even time seems to bend, as though this night could last forever, suspended in its own dream. And perhaps it will in a way, for the aurora is not bound only to the sky. It is bound to the human mind, the human memory. It lingers in paintings, in songs, in stories whispered before sleep. Long after this night has passed, it will return whenever you close your eyes and think of it, whenever you speak its name, whenever you let your imagination paint again the slow, endless ribbons of light. You look one last time at the horizon, where a pale glow lingers, rising faintly above the line of trees. The aurora seems to wave farewell, trailing soft veils across the stars before slipping into the dark. The night grows stiller, colder, but you do not feel sadness. The aurora does not vanish, it only rests. It will return, as it always has, as it always will, as long as the sun burns and the earth endures. And so, you turn inward, carrying the memory close. Sleep calls, gentle and irresistible, like the aurora itself. Your thoughts grow slow, your breath soft, your eyes heavy. The sky above remains vast and quiet, a guardian keeping watch as you drift. The lights may fade from the heavens, but within you they burn softly still, guiding you into dreams. The aurora, Earth's gentle night show, has always been more than light. It is a lullaby written in the sky, a reminder that even in the deepest cold and silence, beauty endures. It waits, it returns, it shines, and tonight it shines for you, wrapping you in its glow, carrying you gently into the endless, star-filled dark. The night stretches onward, and though the aurora has faded into softer veils, the memory of its brilliance still lingers in your eyes. Above, the stars return, sharp and clear, scattered like diamonds spilled across black silk. Yet long after the colors dim, humanity has always remembered. The aurora has never been only light in the sky. It has been story, prayer, warning, celebration. It has lived in the voices of countless generations who stood, as you do now, staring upward, unable to look away. For those who first settled in the far north, the aurora was never a simple curiosity. It was woven into daily life, a presence that could not be ignored. The Sami people of northern Scandinavia believed the lights carried great power, sacred and dangerous. Children were told never to wave or whistle at the aurora, for doing so might summon it closer, with consequences unknown. Instead, they watched in silence, hats removed in respect as though standing in a temple beneath a living god. Far across the Arctic, the Inuit of Canada and Greenland told other stories. Some believed the aurora was the dance of spirits, hunters, ancestors, or animals who had passed into another world. When the sky came alive, they said it was these spirits playing games with the skulls of walruses or guiding the souls of the dead to their rightful places. For others, the lights were messages, signs that the veil between worlds was thin and that the living and the departed shared the night together. Imagine standing there with them, hundreds or even thousands of years ago, when the world was smaller and darker, and the aurora appeared without warning. No maps of the sky, no science to explain, only the shimmer, sudden and immense, sweeping above silent snow. The awe must have been overwhelming, a reminder that nature was alive and unpredictable, both beautiful and fearsome. In Norse lands, the aurora was tied to the Valkyries, fierce maidens of Odin, who chose which warriors would fall in battle and which would rise to Valhalla. Their shining armor, flashing as they crossed the night sky, was said to spark the northern lights. For the warriors who dreamed of honor, the aurora was not simply a spectacle, but a promise, a sign that the Valkyries were near, watching, ready to carry brave souls to eternity. Across Siberia, tribes believed the aurora was a bridge between worlds, a luminous path where shamans could travel in trance, carrying messages between the spirits and the living. In some stories, it was said the lights were the fire of giant torches carried across the sky, guiding hunters through the cold and dark. Even in places far south, where the aurora rarely appeared, its sudden presence left deep marks. Ancient Chinese texts speak of red glows in the northern sky, thought to be heavenly dragons or omens of great change. In Europe during the Middle Ages, the aurora was often feared. People saw crimson arcs and believed them to be signs of bloodshed, battles in the heavens that foretold wars to come. Chroniclers wrote of fiery skies appearing before plagues or invasions, linking the lights to destiny itself. Through all these tales, one truth remains. The aurora has always drawn people to look up. No matter the culture, no matter the century, human beings have stood beneath it and felt small yet connected, fragile yet part of something vast. In every myth, whether of spirits, gods, or warnings, there is a thread of reverence, an acknowledgement that the aurora is more than light, that it touches a part of the soul words cannot fully capture. And in the modern age, when science has named its causes and satellites have mapped its patterns, the stories do not fade. Travelers still flock north, braving frozen winds, snowbound roads, and endless nights, just for the chance to stand where you now stand. They gather on icy lakes, in hushed forests, in quiet villages where the power of the sky can be felt without the distraction of cities. Cameras click, eyes widen, and the old wonder rises again, unchanged by centuries. Consider those who have devoted their lives to following the aurora, photographers who sleep by day and wake at dusk, waiting in silence for the first pale arc to appear. Scientists who camp in observatories, instruments humming, eager to catch the moment when the solar wind touches Earth. Guides who lead small groups into the wilderness, their voices hushed as they tell the old legends, watching faces light with awe as the real thing begins overhead. The aurora has become a journey, a pilgrimage. People travel across oceans, across continents, to places like Tromsø in Norway, Yellowknife in Canada, Fairbanks in Alaska, Rovaniemi in Finland, Murmansk in Russia, or the icy wilderness of Iceland. They leave behind the noise of their daily lives and step into the silence of polar nights, wrapped in blankets and hope. And when the sky finally stirs, when the first ribbon of green curls upward, the crowd always falls silent. No matter how many voices, no matter how many cameras, there is always that still moment. Awe that binds strangers together, But the aurora does not reveal itself on command. It is elusive like a shy spirit. Sometimes it hides behind clouds. Sometimes it does not come at all. Nights pass with nothing but stars, and travelers wait, shivering, uncertain. And then when patience thins, the sky suddenly blossoms, and all weariness is forgotten. This unpredictability only deepens its charm. The aurora cannot be owned, cannot be tamed. It is a gift, one given only on its own terms. Imagine the countless journals filled by explorers of old. Arctic voyagers, sailing through ice-choked seas, wrote of the lights that appeared like banners over their ships, filling the frozen silence with wonder. Some described them as armies marching across the heavens, others as flames burning without smoke. In their loneliness, in the dangers of endless ice, the aurora was both comfort and mystery, a reminder that even in desolation, beauty could be found. Now, in the digital age, the aurora continues to inspire. Videos are shared, watched millions of times by those who may never see it in person. Yet even through a screen, people feel it. The pull, the quiet awe, poetry, music, films, and dreams still gather around it, proof that its influence has not waned. It remains a muse, as eternal in inspiration as it is in presence. As you sit beneath the stars, thinking of these countless human stories, you feel yourself becoming part of them. You too have witnessed. You too have added your silence and your awe to the chain stretching back thousands of years. One day, someone may remember your telling of it, your quiet description of how the sky looked that night. The aurora binds not only the heavens and earth, but people to one another across generations and distances. The lights may fade, the night may end, but the stories remain. Passed by word, by song, by book, by picture, they keep the aurora alive in memory, even when the sky is dark. To tell of it is to join the great circle of witnesses, the endless line of dreamers who stood beneath it and found their hearts touched by wonder. And so, as the night deepens and the cold bites sharper, you stay a little longer, warmed by the knowledge that you are not alone. Every gaze that is lifted upward, every whisper told of spirits or Valkyries, every traveler who has waited in hope, they are here with you, joined by the light, bound by the quiet miracle of the northern sky. The aurora drifts overhead, its waves stretching wider now, spilling across the horizon like brushstrokes painted by a hand both precise and playful. For hours it has moved without pause, bending, folding, unraveling again, a ceaseless melody of light. And as you watch, lulled by its rhythm, another story rises, not of foxes or Valkyries, not of dragons or spirits, but of Earth itself, whispering its science in the gentlest of voices. So soft it feels almost like myth. High above, beyond the reach of mountaintops, beyond even the grasp of clouds, space stretches endless. The sun, though far, never ceases to send its breath outward. This breath is not the soft exhale of sleep, but a constant river of charged particles streaming across the solar system, invisible and unstoppable. Scientists call it the solar wind, but to you now, it feels like something more intimate. The heartbeat of a star, reaching out to touch its planets, to remind them of its presence even in the deepest dark. Most of the time, this wind drifts harmlessly by. Earth is wrapped in a shield, its magnetic field stretching wide, curving gracefully around the planet like invisible arms. This field catches the wind, deflects it, keeps its sharpness away from the fragile breath of air that clings to the world. Without it, the solar wind would strip the skies, leave the planet bare. But Earth holds steady, its iron heart spinning deep within, creating the shield that guards all life. yet at the poles the shield bends inward. It is here, at the edges, that the solar wind slips through, guided downward by the field's lines of force. Like dancers drawn to a stage, the particles spiral toward the atmosphere, meeting the atoms of oxygen and nitrogen waiting in the thin, cold air above. Each meeting is a spark, a collision that shakes loose a shimmer of light. And together, millions upon millions of such sparks weave the curtains that ripple now above you. This is science, yet it feels like poetry. The green that dominates the sky comes from oxygen, glowing at heights of about 100 kilometers. Higher still, rare collisions paint the heavens with red, faint but profound, a whisper that is easily missed unless the night is very dark. Nitrogen, struck by particles, adds hues of blue and violet, delicate strands stitched between the brighter ribbons. Each color, each glow, is a voice in the Aurora's song, a spectrum born of atoms whispering secrets as they release their light. When storms upon the sun grow fierce, when flares burst and great clouds of plasma are hurled outward, the solar wind surges. Earth feels the impact, its magnetic field trembling as though struck by an unseen hand. In those nights the aurora swells, its colors deepening, its motion fierce, spreading far beyond the polar circles. There are times when the lights have been seen as far south as Rome, as far north as the equator in the other hemisphere. Imagine the awe of those who did not expect them, looking up from fields or cities and seeing the heavens suddenly alive. A sky set aflame by forces beyond comprehension, and yet, no matter the scale of the storm, the aurora itself remains silent. It does not roar like thunder, nor crack like lightning. Its collisions are too high, too soft, too distant for ears to hear. But those who have stood long beneath it sometimes speak of faint sounds, crackles, whispers, soft rustlings like silk stirred by a breeze. For centuries, people dismissed these tales. How could light so high, so distant, make sound? But in recent years, scientists listening carefully with sensitive instruments have found that perhaps the tales were not wrong. There may indeed be whispers, born not in the light itself, but in the electric currents that travel downward, brushing the air, creating subtle sounds that drift only when the night is very still. You think of this now, as the aurora sways above. Perhaps the silence is not complete. Perhaps if you listen with your whole being, if you open yourself fully to the night, you might hear it too. Not in your ears, but somewhere deeper. A resonance that hums quietly within your chest. A secret song as old as the sun, as patient as the earth. The aurora is not only beauty, it is record. It carries within it the history of the sun, each flicker tied to storms millions of kilometers away. When ancient trees grew rings in silence, when glaciers carved valleys across continents, when human beings first lifted their eyes in wonder, the aurora was there, keeping time. A diary written in light. Even now, satellites above Earth measure its glow, using it as a map of the invisible field around the planet, a reminder that beauty and protection are woven together. You look again at the sky, and the science becomes more than fact. It becomes intimacy, to know that these colors are born of Earth's shield, of the sun's breath, of atoms releasing their quiet sparks, is to feel closer to both. The aurora is not something separate. It is earth and sun, life and sky, meeting in visible wonder. You are watching the very fabric of existence interacting, playing, revealing itself in colors meant for dreaming. And still, the dance goes on. Waves roll upward, slow at first, then faster, bending like rivers carried by an unseen tide. Threads of purple twist between the green, faint but undeniable, like veins of light pulsing with the rhythm of space itself. They expand until the whole sky is alive, until it feels as though the world beneath is caught within the glow. As the hours pass, you realize the aurora is both constant and ever-changing. The physics remain steady, the collisions repeating endlessly. Yet no two displays are alike. Each night brings its own patterns, its own choreography. No one in history has seen the exact same aurora as another. The lights you see now are yours alone, a performance given once, fading as it ends, never to be repeated. That uniqueness deepens the quiet gratitude in your heart. Science tells you that auroras will continue for as long as the sun breathes, billions of years into the future, long after we are gone, long after mountains have eroded and seas have shifted. The aurora may still shimmer above polar skies, carrying its secret song. It is humbling, comforting to know that something so fragile in appearance is in truth so enduring, a thread that ties past, present, and future into one. You close your eyes for a moment, and the science continues behind them, glowing like a dream. You imagine the solar wind flowing outward, an endless river crossing the void. You see Earth's field bending around it, invisible but strong. You see the spirals of particles rushing downward, colliding with atoms, releasing their light. And then, as you open your eyes again, there it is. Not imagination, but reality, unfolding above, so gentle, so endless, so true. The aurora bends low now, stretching toward the horizon, a final wave before fading. The green dims, the violet softens, the arcs unravel into thin wisps that drift like smoke. You know it will return again, perhaps tomorrow, perhaps weeks from now, but always again. It is never truly gone, only resting, waiting for the breath of the sun to stir it into motion once more. And as the last ribbons fade, the stars shine through, steady and eternal. The sky returns to its quiet, but something within you has shifted, expanded. You carry not only the beauty of the aurora, but its science, whispered softly, gently, as though told in a lullaby. The night continues, endless and tender, and you drift with it, caught in the hush of knowledge and wonder woven into one. The descent continues, gentle and unhurried, as though the ocean itself has decided to cradle you a little longer, guiding you farther into its endless embrace. The water grows darker here, yet it is not frightening, only softer, quieter, more dreamlike. It feels like slipping into the folds of a blanket spun from night, each layer soothing, each moment carrying you farther from the waking world. Shapes emerge in the distance, faint glimmers of motion. Strange fish with lanterns dangling from their foreheads drift silently, their lights swaying with the rhythm of the sea. They are hunters, yet their movements are calm, their glow more like a lull than a warning. Around them, tiny flecks of bioluminescence gather, flickering as if the water itself were sprinkled with stardust. It is as though you have fallen into a sky turned upside down, stars below instead of above, constellations remade in drifting, glowing lives. You drift past a towering cliff face that rises up from the seafloor like an underwater cathedral. Its walls are encrusted with corals that have never seen the sun, their branches pale yet alive, fragile shapes that sway in the deep current. Small creatures tuck themselves into these branches, darting out only for a moment before returning to their delicate shelters. The cliff stretches upward into shadow, disappearing into the water above, a reminder of just how vast this world truly is. Deeper still, the water grows colder, but the chill is not unkind. It is invigorating, like cool air on a quiet night. And in that cold, there are wonders that seem impossible. You pass by a swarm of tiny shrimp that glow blue when touched by light, their bodies shimmering like sparks in the current. Nearby, a slow-moving turtle glides past, its ancient shell patterned with marks carved by time, its movements steady and unbothered. Turtles have journeyed through these oceans for millions of years, carrying with them a memory of the Earth's long story. Watching it, you feel a sense of continuity, as though the ocean has always been and will always be, patient beyond imagination. A faint sound hums through the water. It is low, deep and soothing, the call of another whale somewhere in the distance. Its voice seems to vibrate not only in the water but within you, a reminder that you are part of this vast symphony, even in silence. The song continues, slow and stretched, like a lullaby for the entire ocean, and perhaps for you as well. The ocean floor below begins to shift, no longer flat but cracked and jagged, glowing faintly with veins of heat. You've reached a hydrothermal vent, a place where the earth itself breathes into the sea. Black smoke curls upward in streams, mixing with the cold water. And around it, life thrives. Creatures that glow faintly in the dark, worms that rise like red-plumed flowers, crabs that scuttle across the rocks, pale and strange. It is a world apart, a garden of shadows and light, a place where life persists without sunlight, proving again the resilience of the sea. The longer you drift here, the more you realize how much of the ocean is unknown. Only a fraction of its creatures have been discovered. Only glimpses of its deepest places revealed. It is a reminder that mystery still exists in our world, that not everything has been charted, named, or explained. The ocean holds its secrets softly, like a story whispered only to those who listen with patience. And in this moment, you are listening. Your breath is slow, your body at ease, your mind untethered from the weight of time. You are carried by the currents, a guest in this boundless world, your worries dissolving into salt water and starlight. The ocean's secrets are not loud or dramatic. They are quiet, gentle, and patient, meant to be felt rather than solved. As the current carries you farther into the dream, you realize that the ocean is not just water and life, but a living memory. It remembers beginnings, it remembers stories, and tonight, it is offering you rest, wrapping you in its silence, rocking you as it has rocked the earth for billions of years. You drift on, weightless, calm, a part of the great lullaby of the deep. The aurora lingers above like a whisper that refuses to fade, a gentle reminder that the night sky is more alive than we ever truly notice. Its ribbons of green flow back and forth, and as you stand there, you realize that the lights seem to know you are watching, as if they move not randomly, but in answer to your stillness, to your breath, to your heartbeat. The longer you look, the more it feels like a conversation, one that needs no words, no sound, only presence. A new color appears now. A faint hint of pink drifts along the edges of the green curtain, soft as rose petals pressed into the fabric of night. The pink grows richer, blending into streaks of violet, which curl and swirl like the delicate brushstrokes of a painter who has endless time. The stars peek between the glowing bands, flickering with quiet patience, content to be the backdrop to such a show. Some stars vanish behind the glow, then reappear when the aurora shifts, as though playing a slow game of hide and seek. You tilt your head back, following the arcs as they stretch from one horizon to the other. The vastness overwhelms you, yet it is not frightening. It is humbling. You are small, yes, but in the most comforting way. Small, like a drop of water in the ocean, still part of the whole. The aurora reminds you that smallness can be beautiful, that being part of something immense is its own kind of belonging. The lights ripple suddenly, like a sheet shaken gently by invisible hands. The entire sky quivers, and for a brief moment, the aurora pulses with such intensity that it looks like an ocean of fire flowing above. Then it softens again, folding itself back into delicate ribbons. It is alive, playful, unpredictable, like a dream slipping in and out of focus. In the old stories told by travelers and villagers of the north, the aurora was said to be a bridge between worlds, a place where the human and the divine touched briefly, enough to remind us that we are never truly alone. The Sami would sometimes keep quiet under the lights, fearing that too much noise or disrespect might draw the aurora closer, or worse, anger it. Inuit elders would tell of spirits dancing in the sky, the departed moving joyfully in a world beyond ours. Norse skalds spoke of the Valkyries, their armor sparking across the heavens as they rode to collect the souls of fallen heroes. And in Finland, the story of the fox, sweeping his fiery tail against the snow to spark the northern fire, carried through generations like a lullaby whispered by parents to their children. Each story, though different, carries a thread of reverence. None dismissed the aurora as simple light. None saw it as ordinary. Every culture, every tale, bowed to its presence, treating it as something sacred. As you stand here tonight, you understand why. It is not only what you see, it is what you feel. The aurora does not simply glow, it touches you gently, deeply, quietly. The glow intensifies once more, sweeping across the sky in shimmering arcs. You see green deepening into emerald, violet spilling like ink, and faint streaks of red shimmering high above. Red is rare, and when it appears, it feels as though the sky itself is exhaling a long-forgotten secret. It stretches across the highest layers, delicate and fleeting, almost shy. The red fades quickly, but its memory lingers, adding another layer to the story the heavens are telling tonight. The ground beneath you glows faintly now, reflecting the aurora's colors. Snow crystals sparkle as though they have captured fragments of the sky. The frozen lake nearby becomes a second canvas, doubling the beauty, doubling the stillness. When you look into the icy surface, you see two skies, one above, vast and alive, and one below, quiet and mirrored. Between them you stand, caught between two worlds, feeling as though you are balanced on the edge of a dream. Your body is warm inside your coat, but your face tingles in the cold. The crisp air fills your lungs with every breath, sharp but invigorating. The silence around you is complete, broken only by the faint sound of your own breathing and the subtle creak of trees adjusting under their coats of ice. Yet within that silence, the aurora seems to hum, not a sound you can hear with your ears, but a vibration you feel inside, a resonance that echoes with something ancient. You close your eyes, letting that hum carry you deeper inward. Behind your eyelids, the glow lingers, painting soft green and violet across your mind. It is as though the aurora has entered you, become part of your inner world. Time drifts away again. The minutes are gone, and you no longer care how long you've stood here. The aurora has no need for hours or clocks, and tonight neither do you. In your mind, the aurora becomes something even larger. It is not only light, it is the breath of earth itself, rising and falling in slow, timeless rhythm. It is the laughter of stars sent across space to remind the planet of its place in the cosmos. It is memory of storms on the sun, of particles traveling for days across empty void, only to find Earth waiting, welcoming them with a magnetic embrace. You see it all in your imagination, the sun, fiery and vast, hurling streams of energy outward. The Earth, small yet strong, guarding itself with unseen fields. And then, where they meet, the Aurora, gentle, dazzling, alive. You open your eyes again, and the vision is still there in reality. Curtains of green stretch overhead, glowing brighter now, shifting in endless motion. They move faster, like dancers twirling, ribbons twisting and curling until the whole sky feels alive with rhythm. The stars blink in and out, caught between the movements, joining the performance. The world has become theater, the heavens the stage, the aurora the play, endless and wordless. Somewhere in the distance, a wolf howls. Its call is long and low, echoing across the frozen valley. For a moment, it feels as though the wolf is speaking to the aurora, calling to it, singing with it. The lights ripple in answer, glowing brighter, more vivid, as if the earth and its creatures are in conversation with the sky. You stand in silence, listening, watching, part of this dialogue between earthbound life and celestial wonder. The wolf's call fades, and the silence returns. Yet you no longer feel alone. The aurora fills the space with presence, and even in silence, it is company. It drapes itself across the night like a friend's hand resting lightly on your shoulder, a quiet reassurance that you are safe, you are small, and yet you belong. The ribbons shift again, softening, flowing more slowly. They stretch thin, then fold back into waves. The green glows less brightly now, but with no less beauty. It is softer, gentler, as though the sky is breathing more deeply, settling into calm. You breathe with it, your chest rising and falling in rhythm with the waves of light. Thoughts drift in and out of your mind like the aurora itself. Memories, dreams, little fragments of life. They appear, glow softly, then fade, replaced by others. None of them cling, none of them demand. They come and go as lightly as the lights above. The aurora teaches you how to let go, how to watch without needing to hold, how to feel without needing to grasp. Minutes pass, or perhaps hours. You do not know, and it does not matter. The aurora continues its endless dance, and you continue to stand beneath it, a witness, a part of its story. The night deepens. The stars shine brighter.
The air grows colder.
But you are warm inside, wrapped not just in your clothing, but in the glow, in the calm, in the vastness of this sky. And still, the aurora moves, always moving, always alive, always writing its poetry across the night. Welcome to calm, sleepy dreams, where each story is woven softly to carry you into rest, where words drift like rivers of starlight and time itself seems to slow until it becomes nothing more than a gentle breath. Tonight, let us journey together into one of Earth's most enchanting wonders, a phenomenon so delicate and yet so powerful that it has inspired awe for centuries. This is the Northern Lights, Earth's gentle night show, and as you listen, you may feel yourself sinking deeper into calm, guided by the rhythm of the aurora as it drifts and sways across the night sky. Imagine yourself far to the north, beyond the bustling cities, beyond the last roads that curve across the land, to a place where the air is so crisp it carries the sound of silence. Snow stretches endlessly around you, a soft blanket covering valleys, rivers, and frozen lakes. The trees are tall and still, their branches dusted with frost that glitters faintly in the dim starlight. There is no rush here, no hurry, no noise, but the gentle crunch of your footsteps across the snow. Above you, the heavens stretch vast and dark, dotted with stars so sharp and bright that they seem close enough to touch. And it is here, under this boundless dome of night, that the story of the aurora begins. At first, the sky looks ordinary, a canvas of black sprinkled with white. You stand quietly, your breath visible in the icy air, rising like pale smoke before vanishing. Minutes pass, and then, just at the edge of your vision, you notice something different. A faint streak, subtle, delicate, like a pale green veil pulled across the stars. It is so faint at first that you wonder if you imagined it, but then it brightens, unfolding slowly, as though the night itself is awakening. The streak begins to curl, bending and stretching, its edges glowing more vividly until it becomes a ribbon of light across the heavens. The aurora has arrived. It is not sudden, not jarring. It is gentle, almost shy, emerging with patience as if to test the silence of the night. It spreads wider, a soft arc glowing in shades of green and faint hints of violet. It sways slightly, as though stirred by a breeze that no one can feel. Then, like a curtain being drawn back, the light expands, flowing across the sky with quiet confidence. It does not hurry. It has no need to rush. The aurora has danced above the earth for millennia, and tonight it dances for you. The light pulses, brightens, and then softens again. It stretches from horizon to horizon, and for a moment you feel as though you are standing not on earth, but inside the sky itself, wrapped in its glowing arms. The snow beneath your feet catches the green glow, reflecting it faintly, so that the ground shimmers just as much as the heavens above. The trees, once dark silhouettes, are bathed in soft light, their branches outlined in ethereal green. Even the frozen lake nearby begins to shimmer, as though it has become a mirror for the aurora's dance. It is a sight that seems too magical to belong to the real world, and yet it is real, created by the simplest meeting of forces. Particles born in storms on the sun travel across millions of miles of space. They rush toward Earth, caught by its magnetic field, guided like dancers along invisible lines. When they reach the thin air high above the poles, they collide with atoms of oxygen and nitrogen, and in those collisions, light is born. Green for oxygen, purple and pink for nitrogen, red for rarer interactions. It is science, yes, but tonight it feels like poetry written in light. The lights shift again, curling into spirals, ribbons twisting gracefully as though the sky itself is weaving a tapestry. Some sections glow brighter, almost blinding against the darkness, while others soften into whispers of light, barely there yet impossible to ignore. You find yourself swaying slightly, as if your body cannot help but mimic the rhythm above. The aurora does not only fill the sky, it fills you, a current of calm energy that hums quietly in your chest. You take a deep breath, the cold air sharp and refreshing. Each inhale feels like drawing in starlight. Each exhale is a release of weight, of thoughts, of the day behind you. The aurora continues to move, endlessly shifting, endlessly changing. It is never the same twice, never repeating, always rewriting itself. And as it flows above you, your mind begins to flow too, loosening, softening, drifting with the light. Stories about the aurora have been told for thousands of years. To the Sami people of the Arctic, the northern lights are sacred, often believed to be the spirits of ancestors or powerful forces deserving respect and silence. In Finland, they were called Revontulet, the fox fires, thought to be sparks created when a magical fox ran across the snow, sweeping its tail against the sky. In Norse mythology, the aurora was believed to be the reflection of the Valkyries' armor as they rode across the heavens, guiding the souls of warriors. To Inuit communities, the aurora could be the spirits of animals or even loved ones playing in the sky. Each story, each myth, carries with it a recognition of awe, a recognition that the aurora is not merely light, but something more, something alive. You think about these stories as you watch the lights swirl. You imagine the fox's tail sweeping across the snow, sparks flying into the air and igniting the heavens. You imagine warriors riding across the sky, their shields glinting, their movements echoing in the flickering of green and purple. You imagine ancestors reaching out through the veil of light, reminding you that you are never alone, that you are part of something vast and eternal. Each image flows seamlessly into the next, weaving with the aurora's movement until it feels as though the myths are true, that you are seeing not only light but the whispers of spirits and gods. The aurora grows brighter now. It ripples across the entire sky, vast curtains of green and violet undulating in waves. They rise and fall like the tide, cresting and fading, endless, tireless. The stars behind them still shine, peeking through the gaps, flickering as though they too are part of the dance. The entire sky becomes alive, no longer static, no longer a background, but a living canvas in constant motion, and beneath it all, you are still wrapped in layers of clothing, feet planted in the snow, body quiet and calm. The cold no longer feels sharp, only soothing, a reminder of where you are, of the stillness of the Arctic night. Every sense seems heightened. The crunch of snow beneath your boots, the scent of pine carried in the icy air, the faint rustle of wind through the trees. Yet even these earthly sensations feel small compared to the endless presence above. You close your eyes for a moment, and even then, you can feel the aurora. It is not only sight, it is sensation. It hums faintly, a silent vibration that fills the night. Your breath falls into rhythm with it, slow and steady. Your heartbeat slows too, matching the long waves of light as they stretch across the sky. In this moment, there is no separation between you and the aurora. You are not only a witness, you are part of the dance. Time loses meaning here. Minutes, hours, it all blurs together beneath the slow waves of light. The aurora has always been, and it will always be. It is timeless, eternal, beyond the grasp of clocks and calendars. And so, you let go of time as well, letting yourself drift into the same eternity. The aurora softens again, dimming slightly, then blooming once more, like breath filling the sky. Each cycle is slower now, gentler, as though the night is preparing to lull itself back into rest. But the lights are not gone. They remain, faint but constant, a reminder that beauty does not need to shout to be seen. Sometimes the softest glow carries the deepest calm. You stand there, eyes half open, body swaying slightly in the cold. The snow reflects faint green. The trees whisper softly. The stars twinkle, and the aurora breathes. And as it breathes, you breathe. The night becomes a cradle, rocking you gently until thoughts blur, until silence deepens, until you drift. The aurora above you is still writing its story, painting across the canvas of the sky. But now, that story becomes your dream, carried with you as you sink softly into rest.